Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, wherever you are watching this from. My name is Annabelle Higgins. I'm one of the directors of tonight's production, and this is my lovely co-director, Fenna Capella.
Hello. Well, a bit about me. I am a third-year university student of literature, linguistics, and antiquity. So my background in literature so far been mainly academic.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, wherever you are watching this from.
Studied Shakespeare on a page behind my desk, trying to figure out religious themes in Hamlet, or the effect of Shakespeare's metre on acting. And yeah, sure, it was eye-opening and interesting, and got me very much excited about these amazing works of literature. But being able to direct this play, to put it into practice with this wonderful bunch of actors, has shown me once again what literature is really about. It's about getting it to the people, making sure that people relate to the sentiments, to bring to life this wonderful, wonderful writing. It's been a delight to take on this challenge together with Annabelle.
Thank you so much, Fenna. I personally am a 16-year-old artist, writer, performer, and general jack of all trades who has a deep love for Shakespeare that has existed ever since I received my grandfather's copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. I've read it cover to cover, sonnets and all, and I found something in the literature that gripped me and wouldn't let me go, not that I wanted it to. I began asking questions and probing into Shakespeare in an academic way. But in 2020, when the world plunged into lockdown, a lucky news article informed me of The Show Must Go Online, and I became an avid fan, tuning in every week and creating fan art for most of the shows. I was the introducer for Romeo and Juliet, and performed in A Midsummer Night's Dream and The Two Noble Kinsmen, something which left a lasting impact on me, and introduced me to Fenna. Together, we have created Wide and Universal Theatre, a venture dedicated to bringing fresh performances of early modern drama to your screens. Today, we bring you a tale of power and politics, a tussle between war and peace, a story where we will explore what it really means to be a king. William Shakespeare's The Life and Death of King John.
So, why King John in particular? I'm going to be a bit complacent and say, because Hamlet is so mainstream. No, I'm joking. I love Hamlet. But both Annabelle and I thought that it would be a good idea to explore a new play. It's been rather hidden and obscure so far, and bring it to light. And in that, I can say we've found a gem. And I'll say this over and over again. Humanity doesn't really change that much. King John is a play about the distribution of power, of who has the right to rule, and what exactly it means to be a monarch. And does a crown justify war? Well, needless to say that these are themes that seem to be the main questions in our society nowadays. And then to imagine that this play was written in a time where a monarch was basically the representation of God on earth and its authority was unquestioned. It's an extremely bold critique on the justification of power and monarchy.
Indeed. This play is ripe with dramatic tension, and I think it's one of my personal favourite history plays for several reasons. For one, we have several strong mother figures in the play, which is something we seem to lack in many of Shakespeare's other plays, except perhaps Coriolanus. The strength of Constance and Queen Eleanor is an unforgettable part of the King John experience. Another great thing is the amount of young characters in the play, including Lady Blanche, Prince Henry, and, of course, Arthur, Coeur de Lion's son. As you watch the play, look out for these characters and the different ways in which they serve the plot. Despite the fact that they don't necessarily have that many lines, they have important roles to play. Also, look out for the wonderful antics of the bastard, the cold calculation of Pandulph, and, of course, the shifting fancies and fortunes of the protagonist. Tonight, of all nights, it is important to consider what happens when the seventh act of a monarch draws to a close.
Well, we won't say a lot more. It is important that the play and the performance should speak for itself. And I'll say this again, this performance is a testimony to the fact that literature is supposed to be brought to the public, taken out of a book, and is meant to be engaged with by a wide range of people, no matter their background, no matter their nationality. And it is good to keep in mind that Shakespeare wrote these plays as entertainment, the Elizabethan equivalent of, well, mind you, amazingly good TV series. People went to the theatre to forget about their worries a bit, to have a good laugh, to cry at times, to be asked questions. So that is what we wish for you. Now, really, go enjoy the show.
To the actors, break a leg. To the audience, enjoy.
Act 1, Scene 1.
Now say, Chatillon, what would France with us?
Thus, after greeting speaks the King of France in my behavior to the Majesty, the borrowed Majesty of England here.
A strange beginning, borrowed majesty.
Silence! Mother, hear the embassy.
Philip of France, in right and true behalf of thy deceased brother Geoffrey's son, Arthur Plantagenet, lays most lawful claim to this fair island and the territories, to Ireland, Poitiers, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, desiring thee to lay aside the sword which sways usurpingly these several titles, and put the same into young Arthur's hand, thy nephew and right royal sovereign.
What follows if I disallow of this?
The proud control of fierce and bloody war to enforce these rights so forcibly withheld.
Here have we war for war and blood for blood, controlment for controlment. So answer France.
Then take my king's defiance from my mouth, the farthest limit of my embassy.
Bear mine to him, and so depart in peace. Be thou as lightning in the eyes of France, for ere thou canst report, I will be there. The thunder of my cannon shall be heard, so hence. Be thou the trumpet of our wrath, and sullen presage of our own decay. An honourable conduct let him have. Pembroke, look to it! Farewell, Chatillon.
What now, my son? Have I not ever said how that ambitious Constance would not cease till she had kindled France and all the world upon the right and party of her son? This might have been prevented and made whole with very easy arguments of love, which now the manage of two kingdoms must with fearful bloody issue arbitrate.
Our strong possession and our right for us.
Your strong possession much more than your right, or else it must go wrong with you and me. So much my conscience whispers in your ear that which none but God and you and I shall hear.
My liege, here is the strangest controversy come from the country to be judged by you that e'er I heard. Shall I produce the men?
Let them approach. Our abbeys and our priories shall pay this expedition's charge. What men are you?
Your faithful subject, I, a gentleman, born in Northamptonshire, and eldest son, as I suppose, to Robert Falconbridge, a soldier, by the honour-giving hand of Coeur de Lion, knighted in the field.
What art thou?
The son and heir to that same Falconbridge.
Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? You came not of one mother, then, it seems.
Most certain of one mother, mighty king, that is well known, and, as I think, one father. But for the certain knowledge of that truth, I put you over to heaven and to my mother. Of that I doubt, as all men's children may.
Out on thee, rude man! Thou dost shame thy mother, and want her honour with this diffidence.
Ay, madam, No, I have no reason for it. That is my brother's plea, and none of mine. The which, if he can prove, he pops me out at least from fair £500 a year. Heaven guard my mother's honour, and my land.
Good blunt fellow! Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thine inheritance?
I know not why, except to get the land. But once he slandered me with bastardy. But where I be true begot or no, that still I lay upon my mother's head. But that I am as well begot, my liege, fair fall the bones that took the pains for me. Compare our faces, and be judge yourself. If old Sir Robert did beget us both, and were our father, and this son, like him, oh, old Sir Robert, father, on my knee, I give heaven thanks I was not like to thee.
What a madcap hath heaven lent us here!
He hath a trick of Coeur de Leon's face. The accent of his tongue affected him. Do you not read some tokens of my son in the large composition of this man?
Mine eye hath well examined his parts, and finds them perfect, Richard. Sirrah, speak. What doth move you to claim your brother's land?
Because he hath a half face, like my father. With half that face would he have all my land. A half face groat £500 a year.
My gracious liege, when that my father lived, your brother did employ my father much.
Oh, well, sir, by this you cannot get my land. Your tale must be how he employed my mother.
And once dispatched him in an embassy to Germany, there with the emperor to treat of high affairs touching that time. The advantage of his absence took the king, and in the meantime sojourned at my father's, where how he did prevail I shame to speak. But truth is truth. Large lengths of seas and shores between my father and my mother lay, as I have heard my father speak himself, when this same lusty gentleman was got. Upon his deathbed he by will bequeathed his lands to me, and took it on his death that this, my mother's son, was none of his. And if he were, he came into this world full 14 weeks before the course of time. Then, good my liege, let me have what is mine, my father's land, as was my father's will.
Sirrah, your brother is legitimate. Your father's wife did after wedlock bear him, and if she did play false, the fault was hers, which fault lies on the hazards of all husbands that marry wives. Tell me, how, if my brother, who, as you say, took pains to get this son, had of your father claimed this son for his? In sooth, good friend, your father might have kept this calf bred from his cow from all the world. In sooth he might. Then, if he were my brother's, my brother might not claim him, nor your father, being none of his, refuse him. This concludes, my mother's son did get your father's heir. Your father's heir must have your father's land.
Shall then my father's will be of no force to dispossess that child which is not his?
Of no more force to dispossess me, sir, than was his will to get me, as I think.
Whether hadst thou rather be a Falconbridge, and like thy brother to enjoy thy land, or the reputed son of Coeur de Leon, lord in thy presence, and no land besides?
Madam, and if my brother had my shape, and I had his, Sir Robert's, his like him, and if my legs were two such riding rods, my arms such eelskins stuffed, my face so thin that in mine ear I durst not stick a rose, lest men should say, look where 3 farthings goes, and to his shape were heir to all this land, would I might never still from off this place, I would give it every foot to have this face. I would not be Sir Nob in any case.
I like thee well. Wilt thou forsake thy fortune, bequeath thy land to him, and follow me? I am a soldier. and now bound to France.
Brother, take you my land. I'll take my chance. Your face have got £500 a year, yet still your face sell for 5 pence, and 'tis dear. Madam, I'll follow you unto the death.
Nay, I would have you go before me thither.
Our country manners give our betters way.
What is thy name?
Philip, my liege, so is my name begun. Philip, good old Sir Robert's wife's eldest son.
From henceforth bear his name, whose from thou bearest. Kneel thou down, Philip, but rise more great. Arise, Sir Richard and Plantagenet.
Brother by the mother's side, give me your hand. My father gave me honour, yours gave land. Now, blessed be the hour, by night or day, when I was got, Sir Robert was away.
The very spirit of Plantagenet. I am thy grandam, Richard. Call me so.
Madam, by chance and not by truth. What though? Something about a little from the right, in at the window or so the hatch. Who dares not stir by day must walk by night, and have is have, however men do catch. Near or far off, well won is still well shot, and I am I, however I was begot.
Go, Falconbridge, now hast thou thy desire. A landless knight makes thee a landed squire. Come, madam, and come, Richard. We must speed for France, for it is more than need.
Brother, adieu. Good fortune come to thee, for thou wast got in the way of honesty. A foot of honour better than I was, but many a many foot of land the worse. Well, now can I make any Joan a lady? Good den, Sir Richard, God a mercy, fellow! And if his name be George, I'll call him Peter, for new made honour doth forget men's names. 'Tis too respective and too sociable for your conversion. Now, your traveller, he and his toothpick at my worship's mess. And when my nightly stomach is sufficed, why then I suck my teeth and catechize my picked man of countries. My dear sir, thus leaning on mine elbow, I begin. I shall beseech you. That is question now. And then comes answer, like an Apsy book. Oh, sir, says answer. At your best command, at your employment, at your service, sir. No, sir, says question. I, sweet sir, at yours. And so, answer knows what question would, saving in dialogue of compliment and talking of the Alps and Apennines, the Pyrenean and River Po, it draws towards supper in conclusion. So. But this is worshipful society, and fits the mounting spirit like myself. For he is but a bastard to the time that doth not smack of observation, and so am I, whether I smack or no, and not alone in habit and device, exterior form, outward accoutrement, but from the inward motion to deliver sweet, 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 a poison for the age's tooth, which though I will not practice to deceive, yet to avoid deceit, I mean to learn, for it shall strew the footsteps of my rising. But who comes in such haste in riding robes? What woman post is this? Hath she no husband that will take pains to blow a horn before her? Oh, me, 'tis my mother. How now, good lady? What brings you here to court so hastily?
Where is that slave, thy brother? Where is he that holds in chase mine honour up and down?
My brother Robert, old Sir Robert's son, Colbrand the giant, that same mighty man. Is it Sir Robert's son, that you seek so.
Sir Robert's son? Ay, thou unreverend boy! Sir Robert's son! Why scorn'st thou at Sir Robert? He is Sir Robert's son, and so art thou.
Madam, I was not old Sir Robert's son. Sir Robert might have eat his part in me upon Good Friday and ne'er broke his fast. Sir Robert could do so well, marry to confess, could he get me. Sir Robert could not do it. We know his handiwork. Therefore, good mother, to whom am I beholding for these limbs? Sir Robert never hoped to make this leg.
Hast thou conspired with thy brother too, that for thine own gain shouldst defend mine honour? What means this scorn, thou most untoward knave?
Knights, knights, good mother, basilisco-like what I am dubbed. I have it on my shoulder. But, mother, I am not Sir Robert's son. I have disclaimed Sir Robert and my land. Legitimation, name, and all is gone. Then, good mother, let me know my father. Some proper man, I hope. Who was it, mother?
Hast thou denied thyself a Falconbridge?
As faithfully as I deny the devil.
King Richard Coeur de Lion was thy father. By long and vehement suit I was seduced to make room for him in my husband's bed. Heaven lay not my transgression to my charge. Thou art the issue of my dear offence, which was so strongly urged past my defence.
Now by my light were I to get again, madam, I would not wish a better father. Some sins do bear their privilege on earth, and so doth yours. Your fault was not your folly. Needs must ye lay your heart at his dispose, subjected tribute to commanding love, against whose fury and unmatched force the aweless lion could not wage the fight, nor keep his princely hearts from Richard's hand. He that perforce robs lions of their hearts may easily win the woman's. I, my mother, with all my heart, I thank thee for my father. Who lives and dares but say thou didst not well when I was got? I'll send his soul to hell. Come, lady, I'll show thee to my kin, and they shall say, when Richard me begot, if thou hadst him say nay, it had been sin. Who says it was, he lies. I say 'twas not.
Act 2, Scene 1.
Before Angers well met, brave Austria. Arthur, that great forerunner of thy blood, Richard, that robbed the lion of his heart and fought the holy wars in Palestine, by this brave duke came early to his grave, and for amends to his posterity, at our importance hither is he come, to spread his colours, boy, in thy behalf, and to rebuke the usurpation of thy unnatural uncle, English John. Embrace him, love him, give him welcome hither.
God shall forgive you Coeur de Lion's death, the rather that you give his offspring life, shadowing their right under your wings of war. I give you welcome with a powerless hand, but with a heart full of unstained love. Welcome before the gates of Angers, Duke.
A noble boy, who would not do thee right?
Upon thy cheek lay I this zealous kiss, a seal to this indenture of my love, that to my home I will no more return, till Angers, and the right thou hast in France, together with that pale, that white-faced shore, whose foot spans back the ocean's roaring tides, and coops from other lands her islanders, even till that England, hedged in with the main, that water-walled bulwark, still secure and confident from foreign purposes, even till that utmost corner of the west. Salute thee, for her king. Till then, fair boy, will I not think of home, but follow arms.
Take his mother's thanks, a widow's thanks. To your strong hand shall help to give him strength, to make a more requital to your love.
The peace of heaven is theirs that lift their swords in such a just and charitable war.
Well, then, to work. Our cannon shall be bent against the brows of this resisting town. Call for our chiefest men of discipline to cull the plots of best advantage. We'll lay before this town our royal blood. Wade to the marketplace in Frenchman's blood, but we will make it subject to this boy.
Stay, for an answer to your embassy, lest unadvised you stain your swords with blood. My lord Chatillon may from England bring that right in peace which here we urge in war. And then we shall repent each drop of blood that hot, rash haste so indiscreetly shed.
Wonder, lady. Lo, upon thy wish, our messenger Chatillon is arrived. What England says, say briefly, gentle lord. We coldly pause for thee. Chatillon, speak.
Then turn your forces from this paltry siege and stir them up against a mightier task. England, impatient of your just demands, hath put himself in arms. The adverse winds, whose leisure I have stayed, have given him time to land his legions all as soon as I. His marches are expedient to this town, his forces strong, his soldiers confident. With him along is come the mother queen, an Ate stirring blood. Oh, strife to him. With her, her niece, the Lady Blanche of Spain. With them, a bastard of the king's deceased, and all the unsettled humors of the land. Rash, inconsiderate, fiery voluntaries, with ladies' face in fierce dragon spleens, have sold their fortunes at their natives' homes, bearing their birthright proudly on their backs to make a hazard of new fortunes here. In brief, a braver choice of dauntless spirits than now the English bottoms have wafted, or they never float upon the swelling tide to do offence and scathe in Christendom. Oh! Oh! The interruption of their churlish drums cuts off more circumstance. They are at hand to parley or to fight. Therefore, prepare.
How much unlooked for is this expedition?
How much unexpected? By so much we must awake endeavour for defence. For courage mounts us with occasion. Let them be welcome then. We are prepared.
Peace be to France, if France in peace permit, or just and lineal entry to our own. If not, bleed France, and peace ascend to heaven, while we, the wrathful agent, correct their proud people that beats his peace to heaven.
Peace be to England, if that rogue returned from France to England there to live in peace. England we love, and for that England's sake with burden of our armour here we sweat. This toil of ours should be a work of thine, but thou from loving England art so far that thou hast unwrought his lawful king, cut off the secrets of posterity, outfaced infant saint, and done a rape upon the maiden virtue of the crown. Look here, upon thy brother Geoffrey's face. These eyes, these brows were molded out of his. This little abstract doth contain that large which died in Geoffrey, and the hand of time shall draw this brief into as huge a volume. That Geoffrey was thy elder brother born, and this his son. England was Geoffrey's right, and this is Geoffrey's. In the name of God, how comes it then that thou art called a king, when living blood doth in these temples beat, which owe the crown that thou or masteress?
From who hast thou this great commission, France, to draw my answer from thy articles?
That from that supernal judge that stirs good thoughts in any breast of strong authority to look into the blots and stains of right. That judge hath made me guardian to this boy, under whose warrant I impeach thy wrong, and by whose help I mean to chastise it.
Alack, thou dost usurp authority.
Excuse it is to beat usurping down.
Who is it thou dost call usurper, France?
Let me make answer. Thy usurping son.
Out, insolent. Thy bastard shall be king, that thou mayst be a queen and check the world.
My bet was ever to thy son as true as thine was to thy husband. And this boy, liker in feature to his father Geoffrey than thou and John. In manners being as like as rain to water or devil to his dam. My boy, a bastard! Oh. By my soul, I think his father never was so true begot. It cannot be, if thou were his mother.
There is a good mother, boy, that blots thy father.
There's a good granddam, boy, that would blot thee.
Peace!
Hear the crier!
What the devil art thou?
One that will play the devil, sir, with you, and he may catch your hide, and you alone. You are the hare of whom the proverb goes, whose valour plucks dead lions by the beard. I'll smoke your skin coat and I catch you right, Cyril. Look to it, in faith I will, if faith.
Oh well, did he become the lion's robe that did disrobe the lion of that robe?
It lies as slightly on the back of him as great Alcides' shoes upon an ass. But ass, I'll take that burden from your back, or lay on that shall make your shoulders crack.
What crackery is this same that deafs our ears with this abundance of superfluous breath?
Do we determine what we shall do straight?
Women and fools, break off your conference. King John, this is the very sum of all. England, Ireland, Anjou, Durand, and Maine in right of Arthur do I claim of thee. Wilt thou resign them and lay down thy arms?
My life is soon. I do defy thee, France. Arthur of Brittany, yield thee to my hand, and out of my dear love I'll give thee more than e'er the coward hand of France can win. Submit thee, boy.
Come to thy grandam, child.
Oh, do, child. Go to her, grandam, child. Give grandam kingdom, and a grandam will. Give it a cherry, a fig, and a plum, and there's a good grandam.
Good my mother, peace. I would that I were low laid in my grave. I am not worth this coil that's made for me.
His mother shames him so, poor boy, he weeps.
Oh, shame upon you, where she does or no. His grandam's wrongs, and not his mother's shame, draw those moving pearls from his poor eyes, which heaven shall take in nature of a fee. Aye, with these crystal beads, heaven shall be bribed to do him justice and revenge on you.
Thou monstrous slanderer of heaven and earth.
Thou monstrous injurer of heaven and earth, call not me slanderer. Thou and thine usurp the dominations, royalties, and rights of this oppressed boy. This is thy eldest son's son, infortunate in nothing but in thee. Thy sins are visited in this poor child. The canon of the law is laid on him, being but the second generation removed from thy sin-conceiving womb.
Bed them, have done.
I have but this to say, that he is not only plagued for her sin, but God hath made her sin, and her the plague. On this removed issue, plagued for her, and with her plague, her sin, his injury. Her injury the beadle to his sin, or punish it in the person of this child, and all for her. The plague upon her.
Thou unadvised scold, I can produce a will that bars the title of thy son.
Ah, who doubts that? A will, a wicked will, a woman's will, a cankered grandam's will.
Peace, lady. Pause, or be more temperate. It ill beseems this presence to cry aim to these ill-tuned repetitions. Some trumpet summon hither to the walls these men of Angiers. Let us hear them speak whose title they admit. Arthur's or John's?
Who is it that hath warned us to the walls?
'Tis France for England.
England for itself, you men of Angers and my loving subjects.
You loving men of Angers, Arthur's subjects, our trumpet called you to this gentle pow.
For our advantage, therefore hear us first. These flanks of France that are advanced here before the eye and prospect of your town have hither marched to your endangerment. The cannons have their bows full of wrath, and ready mounted are they to spit forth their iron indignation against your walls, and preparation for a bloody siege and merciless proceedings by these friends confronts your city's eyes, your winking gates, and but for our approach, those sleeping stones, that as a waist of girth your girdle you about, by the compulsion of their ordinance, by this time from their fixed beds of lime had been dishabited and wide havoc made for bloody power to rush upon your peace. But on the sight of us, your lawful king, who painfully, with much expedient march, have brought a counter-check before your gates to save unscratched your city's threatened cheeks, behold, the French amazed, vouchsafe a parley. And now, instead of bullets wrapped in fire, to make a shaking fever in your walls, they shoot but calm words folded up in smoke, to make a faithless error in your ears, which trust accordingly, kind citizens, and let us in. Your king, whose laboured spirits, forewearied in this action of swift speed, craves harbourage within your city walls.
When I have said, make answer to us both. Lo, in his right hand, whose protection is most divinely vowed upon the right of him it holds, stands young Plantagenet, son to the elder brother of this man, and king o'er him, and all that he enjoys. For this downtrodden equity we tread in warlike march, these greens before your town, being no further enemy to you than the constraint of hospitable zeal in the relief of this oppressed child religiously provokes. Be pleased then to pay that any duty which you truly owe to him that owns it, namely this young prince, and then our arms, like to a muzzled bear, save in aspect, hath all offence sealed up. Our cannons' malice vainly shall be spent against the invulnerable clouds of heaven, and with a blessed and unvented retire, with unbacked swords and helmets all unbruited, we will bear home that lusty blood again, which here we came to spout against your town, and leave your children, wives, and you in peace. But if you fondly pass our pre-offered offer, 'tis not the grandeur of your old-fest walls can hide you from our messengers of war, though all these English and their discipline were harbored in the rude circumference. Then tell us, shall your city call us lords in that behalf which we have challenged it, or shall we give the signal to our rage and stalk in blood to our possession?
In brief, we are the King of England's subjects. For him, and in his right, we hold this town.
Acknowledge then the king, and let me in.
That can we not. But he that proves the king, to him will we prove loyal. Till that time have we rammed up our gates against the world.
Not the crown of England prove the king, and if not that, I bring you witnesses, twice 15,000 hearts of England's breed,
Bastards else?
to verify our title with their lives.
As many in as well-born blood as those
Some bastards too.
stand in the face to contradict his claim.
Till you compound whose right is worthiest, we, for the worthiest, hold the right from both.
Then God forgive the sin of all those souls that to their everlasting residence before the dew of evening fall shall fleet in dreadful trial of our kingdom's king.
Amen. Amen. Mount Chevalier, to arms!
Saint George that swinged the dragon, and as sin sits on his horseback at mine hostess's door, teach us some fence! Sirrah, were I at home at your den, sirrah, with your lioness, I would set an ox head to your lion's hide, and make a monster of you.
Peace, no more.
Oh, tremble, for you hear the lion roar!
Up higher to the plain, where we'll set forth the best appointment all our regiments.
Speed then to take advantage of the field!
It shall be so, and at the other hill command the rest to stand. God and our rights!
You men of Angers, open wide your gates and let young Arthur, Duke of Brittany, in, who by the hand of France this day hath made, who by much work, for much tears, in many an English mother, whose sons lie scattered on the bleeding ground, many a widow's husband grovelling lies, coldly embracing the discoloured earth, and victory with little loss doth play, who are at hand triumphantly displayed, to enter conquerors and to proclaim Arthur of Brittany, England's king and yours.
Rejoice, ye men of Angers, ring your bells! King John, your king and England's doth approach, commander of this hot, malicious day. Their armours that marched forth, so silver bright, hither return, all gilt with Frenchmen's blood. There struck no plume in any English crest that is removed by a staff of France. Our colours do return in those same hands that did display them when we first marched forth. And, like a jolly troop of huntsmen come, our lusty English, all with purpled hands, died in the dying slaughter of their foes. Open your gates, and give the victors ware!
Herald, from off our towers we might behold from first to last the onset and retire of both your armies, whose equality by our best eyes cannot be censured. Blood hath bought blood, and blows have answered blows. Strength matched with strength, and power confronted power. Both are alike, and both alike we like. One must prove greatest. While they weigh so even, we hold our town for neither, yet for both.
France, hast thou yet more blood to cast away? Say, shall the current of our right roam on, whose passage vexed with thy impediment shall leave his native channel, and o'erswell with course disturbed even thy confining shores, unless thou let his silver water keep a peaceful progress to the ocean?
England, thou hast not saved one drop of blood in this hot trial more than we of France, but lost more. And by this hand, I swear, that sways the earth this climate o'erlooks, before we will lay down our just-born arms, we'll put thee down, gainst whom these arms we bear, or add a royal number to the dead, gracing the scrolls that tell of this war's loss with slaughtered couple to the name of kings.
Majesty, how high thy glory towers when the rich blood of kings is set on fire. Oh, now death doth line his dead chaps with steel. The swords of soldiers are his teeth, his fangs, and now he feasts, mousing the flesh of men in undetermined differences of kings. Why stand these royal fronts amazed thus? Cry havoc, kings! Back to the stained field, you equal potents, fiery kindled spirits! Then let confusion of one part confirm the other's peace. Till then, blows, blood, and
death! Whose party do the townsmen yet admit?
Speak, citizens, for England. Who's your king?
The King of England! When we know the king.
Know him in us that here hold up his rights.
In us that are our own great deputy and bear possession of our person here, lord of your presence, and yours, and you.
A greater power than we denies all this, until it be undoubted. We do lock our foremost scruple in our strong barred gates, kings of our fear, until our fears resolved be by some certain king purged and deposed.
By heaven, these coils of Angers flout you, kings, and stand securely on their battlements as in a theatre, whence they gape and point at your industrious scenes and acts of death. Your royal presences, be ruled by me. Do like the mutines of Jerusalem, be friends awhile, and both conjointly bend your sharpest deeds of malice on this town. By east and west let England and France mount their battering cannon charger to the mouths, till their soul-fearing clamours have brawled down the flinty ribs of this contemptuous city. I'd play incessantly upon these jades, even till unfenced desolation leave them as naked as the vulgar air. That done, dissever your united strengths, and part your mingled colours once again. Turn face to face, and bloody point to point. Then in a moment shall fortune call forth out of one side her happy minion, to whom in favour she shall give this day, and kiss him with a glorious victory. How like you this wild counsel, mighty states? Smacks it not something of the policy?
Now by the sky that hangs above our heads, I like it well. France, shall we knit our powers and lay this Angers even with the ground, then after fight who shall be king of it?
And if thou hast the mettle of a king, being wronged as we are by this peevish town, turn thou the mouth of thy artillery, as we will ours, against these saucy walls. And when that we have dashed them to the ground, why then defy each other, and pell-mell make work upon ourselves, for heaven or for hell?
Let it be so. Say, where will you assault?
We, from the west, will send destruction into city's bosom.
I, from the north.
Our thunder from the south shall rain the drifts of bullets on this town.
Oh, prudent discipline. From north to south, Austria and France shoot in each other's mouth. I'll stir them to it. Come! Away! Away!
Help us, great kings! Vouchsafe a while to stay, and I shall show you peace and fair-faced league. Win you this city without stroke or wound. Rescue those breathing lives to die in beds, that here come sacrifices for the field. Persevere not, but hear me, mighty kings.
Speak on with favour. We are bent to hear.
That daughter there of Spain, the Lady Blanche, is near to England. Look upon the years of Louis the Dauphin and that lovely maid. If lusty love should go in quest of beauty, where should he find it fairer than in Blanche? If zealous love should go in search of virtue, where should he find it purer than in Blanche? Oh, if love ambitious sought a match of birth, whose veins bound richer blood than Lady Blanche, such as she is in beauty, virtue, birth, is the young Dauphin, every way to complete, if not complete of, say he is not she, and she again wants nothing, to name want, if want it be not that she is not he. He is the half part of a blessed man, left to be finished by such as she. And she, a fair divided excellence whose fullness of perfection lies in him. Oh, two such silver currents, when they join, do glorify the banks that bound them in, and two such shores to two such streams made one. To such controlling bound shall you be kings to these two princes, if you marry them. This union shall do more than battery can to our fast-closed gates, for at this match, with swifter spleen than powder can enforce, the mouth of passage shall we fling wide ope, and give you entrance. But without this match, the sea enraged is not half so deaf. Lions more confident, mountains and rocks more free from motion. No! Not death himself, immortal fury, hath so peremptory as we to keep this city.
Here's a say that shakes the rotten carcass of old death out of his rags. Here's a large mouth indeed that spits forth death and mountains, rocks and seas, talks as familiarly of roaring lions as maids of 13 do puppy dogs. What cannoneer begot this lusty blood? He speaks plain cannon fire and smoke and bounce. He gives the bastinado with his tongue. Our ears are cudgelled. Not a word of his but buffets better than a fist of France. Zounds, I was never so bethumped with words since I first called my brother's father dad.
Son, list to this conjunction. Make this match. Give with our niece a dowry large enough, for by this knot thou shalt so surely tie thy now unsured assurance to the crown, that yon green boy shall have no son to ripe the bloom that promiseth a mighty fruit. I see the yielding in the look of France. Mark how they whisper. Urge them while their souls are capable of this ambition, lest zeal now melted by the windy breath of soft petitions, pity and remorse, cool and congeal again to what it was.
Why answer not the double majesty this friendly treaty of a threatened town?
Speak England first, that had been forward first to speak unto this city. What say you?
If that the Dauphin there, thy princely son, can in this book of beauty read I love, her dowry shall weigh equal with a queen, for Anjou and fair Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and all that we upon this side of sea, except this city now besieged by us, find liable in our crown and dignity, shall gild her bridal bed and make her rich in titles, honours, and promotions, as she, in beauty, education, blood, holds hands with any princes of the world.
What sayest thou, boy? Look in the lady's face.
I do, my lord, and in her eye I find a wonder, or a wondrous miracle. The shadow of myself formed in her eye, which, being but the shadow of your son, becomes a sun, and makes your son a shadow. I do protest I never loved myself, till now in fixed I beheld myself, drawn in the flattering table of her eye.
Drawn in the flattering table of her eye, hanged in the frowning wrinkle of her brow, and quartered in her heart, he doth espy himself love's traitor. This is pity now, that hanged and drawn and quartered there should be in such a love so vile a lout as he.
My uncle's will in this respect is mine. If he sees aught in you that makes him like, that anything he sees which moves his liking, I can with ease translate it to my will. Or if you will, to speak more properly, I will enforce it easily to my love. Further, I will not flatter you, my lord, that all I see in you is worthy love. Than this, that nothing do I see in you. No churlish thoughts themselves should be your judge, that I can find should merit any hate.
What say thou, young ones? What say you, my niece?
That she is bound in honour, still to do what you, in wisdom, still vouchsafe to say.
Speak then, Prince Stefan. Can you love this lady?
Nay, ask me if I can refrain from love, for I do love her most unfeignedly.
Then do I give Valquesin, Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and Anjou, these 5 provinces, with her to thee, and this addition more, full 30,000 marks of English coin, Philip of France, if thou be pleased with all, command thy son and daughter to join hands.
It likes us well. Young princes, close your hands.
And your lips too, for I am well assured that I did so when I was first assured.
Now, citizens of Angers, ope your gates, that in that amity which you have made, for at St. Mary's Chapel presently the rites of marriage shall be solemnized. Is not the Lady Constance in this troop? I know she is not, for this match made up, her presence would have much interrupted. Where is she and her son? Tell me, who knows?
She is sad and passionate at your highness's tent.
And by my faith, this league that we have made will give her sadness very little cure. Brother of England, how may we content this widow lady? In her right we came, which, God knows, have turned another way to our own vantage.
We will heal up all, for we'll create young Arthur, Duke of Brittany, and Earl of Richmond, and this rich, fair town we make him lord of. Call the attendants! Some speedy messenger bid her repair to our solemnity. I trust we shall, if not fill up the measure of her will, yet in some measure satisfy her so that we shall stop her exclamation. Go we all, well as haste will suffer us, to this unlooked for, unprepared pomp.
Mad world! Mad kings! Mad composition! John, to stop Arthur's title in the whole, hath willingly departed with a part. And France, whose armour conscience buckled on, whom zeal and charity brought to the field as God's own soldier, rounded in the ear with that same purpose changer, that sly devil, that broker that still breaks the pate of faith, that daily break vow, he that wins all of kings, of beggars, old men, young men, maids, who, having no external thing to lose but the word maid, cheats the poor maid of that smooth-faced gentleman, tickling commodity. Commodity, the bias of the world who of itself is pisied well, made to run upon even ground evenly till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, this sway of motion, this commodity, makes it take head from all indifferency, from all direction, purpose, course, intent, and this same bias, this commodity, this board, this broker, this all-changing word clapped on the outward eye of fickle France, hath drawn him from his own determined aid, from a resolved and honourable war to a most base and vile concluded peace. And why rely on this commodity? But for because he hath not wooed me yet, Not that I have the power to clutch my hand when his fair angels would salute my palm, but for my hand, as unattempted yet, like a poor beggar raileth on the rich. Well, whiles I am a beggar, I will rail and say there is no sin but to be rich. And being rich, my virtue then shall be to say there is no vice but beggary. Since kings break faith upon commodity, gain, be my lord, for I will worship thee.
Act 3, Scene 1.
Gone to be married. Gone to swear a peace. False blood to false blood joined. Gone to be friends. Shall Louis have Blanche, and Blanche to his provinces? It is not so. Thou hast misspoke, misheard. Be well advised, tell Lord thy tale again. It cannot be. Thou dost but say it is so. And I trust and may not trust thee. For thy word is but the vain breath of a common man. Believe me, I don't believe thee, man. I have a king's oath to the contrary. And thou shalt be punished for thus flighting me. For I am sick and capable of fears, oppressed with wrongs and therefore full of fears. A widow, husbandless, therefore full of fears. A woman naturally born to fears. And though thou now confess thou didst but jest, with my vexed spirits I cannot take a truce. They will quake and tremble all this day. What dost thou mean by shaking of thy head? Why do you look so sadly on my son? What means that hand upon that breast of thine? Why holds thine eye that lamentable room, like a proud river peering o'er his bounds? Be these sad signs confirmers of my words? Speak again, then. Not all thy former tale, but this one word. Whether thy tale be true?
As true as I believe you think them false, and give you cause to prove my saying true.
Oh, if thou teach me to believe this sorrow, teach thou this sorrow how to make me die. And I believe in life and counter so, as of the fury of two desperate men, which in the very meeting fall and die. Louis, marry Blanche. Oh, boy, then where art thou? France? Friends with England? What becomes of me? Fellow, be gone, I cannot brook thy sight. This news hath made thee a most ugly man.
What other harm have I, good lady, done, but spoke the harm that is by others done?
Which harm within itself so heinous is that it makes harmful all that speak of it?
I do beseech you, madam, be content.
If thou, that bidst me be content, wert grim, ugly, and slanderous to thy mother's womb, full of unpleasing blots and sightless stains, lame, foolish, crooked, swart, prodigious, patched with foul moles and eye-offending marks, I wouldn't care, I would be content, for that I should not love thee. No, nor thou become thy great birth, or deserve a crown. Oh, but thou art fair, and at thy birth, dear boy, nature and fortune joined to make thee great. Of nature's gift, thou mayest with lilies boast, and with the half-blown rose, but fortune, oh, she is corrupted, changed and won from thee. She adulterates hourly, with that Uncle John, and with her golden hand had plucked on France to tread down fair respect of sovereignty, and made his majesty the bold to dash, yeah, France is a bold to fortune and King John. That strumpet fortune, that usurping John, tell me, fellow, is not France forsworn? Envenom him with words, or get thee gone, and leave those woes alone which I alone am bound to underbear.
Pardon me, madam. I may not go without you to the king's.
Thou mayest, and thou shalt. I will not go with thee. I will instruct my sorrow to be proud. For grief is proud, and makes his owner stoop. To me, and to the state of my great grief, let kings assemble. For my grief is so great that no supporter but the huge firm earth can hold it up. Well, here I and sorrow sit. Here's my throne. Bid kings come bow to it.
'Tis true, fair daughter, and this blessed day ever in France shall be kept festival to solemnize this day. The glorious sun stays his course and plays the alchemist, turning with splendor of his precious eye the meager cloddy earth to glittering gold. The yearly course that brings this day about shall never see it but a holy day.
A wicked day, not a holy day. What hath this day deserved? What have it done? That it in golden letters should be set among the high tides in the calendar. Nay, turn this day out of the week. This day of shame, of perjury, of oppression. Or if it must stand still, that wives with child pray that their burdens do not fall this day, lest their hopes prodigiously be crossed. But on this day let seamen fear no wrack, no bargains break that are not this day made. This day all things begun come to an ill end. Yea, fave itself to hollow falsehood changes.
By heaven, lady, you shall have no cause to curse the fair proceedings of this day. Have I not pawned to you my majesty?
You have beguiled me with a counterfeit, resembling majesty, which being touched and tried proves valueless. You are forsworn. Forsworn! You came in arms to spill mine enemy's blood, but now in arms you strengthen it with yours. The grappling vigour and rough frown of war is cooled in amity and painted peace, and our oppression hath made up this league. Arm! Arm, you heavens, against his perjured kings. A widow cries, be husband to me, God. Let not the hours of this ungodly day wear out the days in peace, but ere sunset let's set armed discord. Set armed discord betwixt these perjured kings. Hear me! Hear me!
Lady Constance, peace!
War. War, no peace. Peace is to me a war. O Lyme Jesu, Austria, thou dost shame that bloody spoil. Thou slave, thou wretch, thou coward, thou little valiant, great in villainy. Thou ever strong upon the stronger side, thou fortune's champion. Dost never fight but when her humorous ladyship is by to teach thee safety. Thou'rt perjured too, in soothstop greatness. What a fool art thou, a rampling fool, to brag and stamp and swear upon my party. Thou cold-blooded slave, hast thou not spoke like thunder on my side, been sworn my soldier, bidding me depend upon thy stars, thy fortune and thy strength? And do you now fall over to my foes? Thou wearest a lion's hide, doff it for shame, and hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Oh, that a man should speak those words to me.
And hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Thou darest not say so, villain, for thy life.
And hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Like not this, thou dost forget thyself.
Here comes the holy legate of the Pope.
Hail, you anointed deputies of heaven. To thee, King John, my holy errandees, I, Pandolf of Fair Milan Cardinal, and from Pope Innocent, the legate here, do in his name religiously demand why thou against the Church, our holy mother, so wilfully dost spurn and force perforce keep Stephen Langton, chosen Archbishop of Canterbury, from that holy see. This, in our foresaid Holy Father's name. Pope Innocent, I do demand of thee.
What earthly name to integrities can task the free breath of a sacred king? Thou canst not, Cardinal, devise a name so slight, unworthy, and ridiculous, to charge me to an answer as the Pope. Tell him this tale, and from the mouth of England add thus much more, that no Italian priest shall tithe or toll in our dominions, but as we, under God, our supreme head, so under him, that great supremacy where we do reign, we will alone uphold, without the assistance of a mortal hand. So tell the Pope, all reverence set apart, to him and his usurped authority.
Brother England, you blaspheme in this.
No! You and all the kings of Christendom are led so grossly by this meddling priest, dreading the curse that money may buy out, and by the merit of vile gold, dross, dust, purchase, corrupted pardon of a man who in the sale sells pardon from himself, though you and all the rest so grossly led this juggling witchcraft would revenue cherish, yet I alone do me oppose against the Pope, and count his friends my foes.
Then, by the lawful power that I have, thou shalt stand cursed and excommunicate, and blessed shall he be that doth revolt from his allegiance to an heretic, and meritorious shall that hand be called, canonized and worshipped as a saint that takes away by any secret course thy hate for life.
Oh, lawful let it be that I have room with Rome to curse a while. Good Father Cardinal cried out amen to my keen curses, for without my wrong there is no tongue have power to curse him right.
There's law and warrant, lady, for my curse.
For mine too. When law can do no right, let it be lawful that law bar no wrong. Law cannot give my child his kingdom here. For he that holds his kingdom holds the law. Therefore, since law in itself is so perfect wrong, how can the law forbid my tongue to curse?
Philippe of France, on peril of a curse, let go the hand of that arch heretic, and raise the power of France upon his head, unless he do submit himself to Rome.
Look'st thou pale, France? Do not let go thy hand.
Look to that devil, lest that France repent and by disjoining hands hell lose a soul.
Philip, listen to the cardinal.
And hang a calf skin on his recreant limbs.
Ian, I must pocket up these wrongs because...
Your breeches best may carry them.
Philip, what sayest thou to the cardinal?
What should he say but ask the cardinal?
Bethink you, father, for the difference is purchase of a heavy curse from Rome, or the light loss of England as a friend. Forgo the easier.
That's the curse of Rome.
Louis, stand fast. The devil tempts thee here in likeness of a new untrimmed bride.
The Lady Constance speaks not from her faith, but from her need.
If thou grant my need, which only lives by the death of faith, that need must needs infer this principle, that faith would live again by death of need. Then tread down my need, and faith mounts up. Keep my need up, and this faith is trodden down.
King is moved, and answers not to this.
Be removed from him, and answer well.
Also, King Philip, hang no more in doubt.
Hang nothing but a calf skin, most sweet lout.
I am perplexed and know not what to say.
What canst thou say, but will perplex thee more, if thou stand excommunicate and cursed?
Reverend Father, make my person yours, and tell me how you would bestow yourself. This royal hand and mine are newly knit, and the conjunction of our inward souls married, in league coupled and linked together with all religious strength of sacred vows. The latest breath that gave the sound of words was deep sworn faith, peace, enmity, true love between our kingdoms and our royal selves. And even before this truce, but knew before, no longer than we well could wash our hands to clap this royal bargain up of peace. God knows they were besmeared and overstained with slaughter's pencil, while revenge did paint a fearful difference of insensate kings. And shall these hands, so lately purged their blood, so newly joined in love, so strong in both, unyoke this sieger and his kind regret, play fast and loose with fate, so jest with heaven, make such unconstant children of ourselves, as now again to snatch our palm from palm unto our fate sworn, and on the marriage band of smiling peace to march a bloody host, and make a true riot on this gentle brow of true sincerity. O holy sir, my reverend father, let it be not so. Out of your grace devise, ordain, impose some gentle order, and then we shall be blessed to do your pleasure and continue friends.
All form is formless, order orderless, save what is opposite to England's love. Therefore to arms! Be champion of our church! Or let the church, our mother, breathe a curse, a mother's curse, on her revolting son. France, thou mayest hold a serpent by the tongue, a chafed lion by the mortal paw, a fasting tiger safer by the tooth, than keep in peace that hand which thou holdst.
I may disjoin my hand, but not my faith.
So, makest thou faith an enemy to faith, and like a civil war settest oath to oath, thy tongue against thy tongue. Oh, let thy vow first made to God, first to God be performed. That is, to be the champion of our church. What? Since thou sworest is sworn against thyself, and may not be performed by thyself, for that which thou hast sworn to do amiss is not amiss when it is truly done, and being not done where doing tends to ill, the truth is that most done not doing it. The better act of purposes mistook is to mistake again, though indirect, yet indirection thereby grows direct, and falsehood cures as fire cools fire within the scorched veins of one new burned. It is religion that doth make vows kept. But thou hast sworn against religion by what thou swearest against the thing thou swearest, and makest an oath the surety for thy truth against an oath. The truth thou art unsure to swear, swears only not to be forsworn, else what a mockery should it be to swear? But thou dost swear only to be forsworn, and most forsworn to keep what thou dost swear. Therefore thy later vows against thy first is in thyself rebellion to thyself, and better conquest never canst thou make than arm thy constant and thy nobler parts against these giddy loose suggestions, upon which a better part our prayers come in, if thou vouchsafe them. But if not, then know the peril of our curses light on thee, so heavy as thou shalt not shake them off, but in despair die under their black weight.
Rebellion! Blood rebellion!
Will it not be? Will not a calfskin stop that mouth of thine?
Father, to arms!
On my wedding day, against the blood that thou hast married. What shall our feast be keeping with slaughtered men? Shall braying trumpets and loud churlish drums, clamours of hell, be measures to our pomp? O husband, hear me! I, alack, how new is husband to my mouth, even for that name, which till this time my tongue did ne'er pronounce. Upon my knee I beg, go not to arms against mine uncle.
Oh. Upon my knee made hard with kneeling, I pray to thee, thou virtuous Dauphin, alter not the doom forethought by heaven.
Now, shall I see thy love? What motive may be stronger with thee than the name of wife?
That which upholdeth him that thee upholds, his honour, Louis! Thine honour!
I muse your majesty doth seem so cold when such profound respects do pull you on.
I will denounce a curse upon his head!
Thou shalt not need England. I will force from thee.
Oh, fair return of banished majesty!
O foul revolt of French inconstancy!
France, thou shalt rue this hour within the hour.
O time, the clock setter, that bold sexton time. Is it as he will? Well then, France shall rule.
The suns are cast with blood, their day adieu. Which is the side that I must go with? I am with both. Each army have a hand. And in their rage, I have a holding of both. They whirl asunder and dismember me. Husband, I cannot pray that thou mayst win. Uncle, I needs must pray that thou mayst lose. Father, I may not wish the fortune thine. Grandam, I will not wish thy wishes thrive. Whoever wins, on that side I shall lose. Assured loss before the match be played.
Lady, with me thy fortune lies.
There where my fortune lives, there my life dies.
Cousin, go draw our puissance together. France, I am burned up with inflaming wrath, a rage whose heat hath this condition, and nothing can allay. Nothing but blood. The blood, and dearest valued blood of France.
Thy rage shall burn thee up, and thou shalt turn to ashes ere our blood shall quench that fire. Look to thyself, thou art in jeopardy.
No more than he that threats. To arms! High!
Act 3, Scene 2.
Now, by my life, this day grows wondrous hot. Some airy devil hovers in the sky and pours down mischief. Austria's heads lie there, while Philip breathes.
Hubert, keep this boy. Philip, make up. My mother is assailed in our tent, and Tay and I fear.
My lord, I rescued her. Her Highness is in safety. Fear you not. But on, my liege, for very little pains will bring this labour to a happy end.
Act 3, Scene 3.
So shall it be. Your grace shall stay behind, so strongly guarded. Cousin, look not sad. Thy grandam loves thee, and thy uncle will as dear be to thee as thy father was.
This will make my mother die with grief.
Cousin, away for England. Haste before, and ere our coming, see thou shake thy bags of hoarding abbots. Imprisoned angels set at liberty. The fat ribs of peace must be thy hungry now be fed upon. Use our commission in his utmost force.
Bell, book, and candle shall not drive me back when gold and silver becks me to come on. I leave your Highness. Grandam, I will pray, if ever I remember to be holy, for your fair safety. So I kiss your hand.
Farewell, gentle cousin.
Cuz, farewell.
Come hither, little kinsman. Hark, a word.
Come hither, Hubert. Oh, my gentle Hubert, we owe thee much. Within this wall of flesh there is a soul counts, thee her creditor, and with advantage means to pay thy love. And, my good friend, thy voluntary oath lives in this bosom dearly cherished. Give me thy hand. I had a thing to say, but I will fit it with some better tune. By heaven, Hubert, I am almost ashamed to say what good respect I have of thee.
I am much bounden to your majesty.
Good friend. Thou hast no cause to say so yet, but thou shalt have. And creep time ne'er so slow, yet it shall come from me to do thee good. I had a thing to say, but let it go. The sun is in the heaven, and the proud day, attended with the pleasures of the world, is all too wanton and too full of gods to give me audience. If the midnight bell did with his iron tongue and brazen mouth sound on into drowsy race of night, if this same were a churchyard where we stand and thou possessed with 1,000 wrongs, or if that surly spirit melancholy had baked thy blood and made it heavy, thick, which else runs tickling up and down the veins, making that idiot laughter keep men's eyes and strain their cheeks in idle merriment, a passion hateful to my purposes. Or, if that thou couldst see me without eyes, hear me without thine ears, and make reply without a tongue, using conceit alone without eyes, ears, and harmful sound of words, then, in despite of brooded watchful day, I would into thy bosom pour my thoughts. But I will not, yet I love thee well. And by my troth, I think thou lovest me well.
So well, that what you bid me undertake, though that my death were adjunct to my act, by heaven I would do it.
Yes, I know thou wouldst. Good Hubert, throw thy my eye on yon young boy, and tell thee what, my friend, he is a very serpent in my way. And wherefore this foot of mine doth tread, he lies before me. Dost thou understand me? Thou art his keeper.
And I'll keep him so, that he shall not offend your majesty.
Yes.
My lord?
A grave.
He shall not live.
Enough. I could be merry now, Hubert. I love thee. Well, I'll not say what I intend for thee. Remember. Madam, fare you well. I'll send those powers o'er to your majesty.
My blessing go with thee.
For England, cousin. Go. Hubert, you shall be my man. Attend on you with all true duty. On towards Calais! Ho!
Act 3, Scene 4.
So, by a roaring tempest on the flood, a whole armada of convicted sailors scattered and disjointed from fellowship.
Courage and a comfort. All yet shall yet go well.
What can go well when we have run so ill? Are we not beaten? Is not Angers lost, our taken prisoner? Diver, dear friends slain, and bloody England into England gone, or bearing interruption, spite of France?
What he hath won, that hath he fortified. So hot a speed, with such advice disposed, such temperate order in so fierce a cause, doth want example. Who hath read or heard of any kindred action like to this?
Well, could I bear that England had its praise, so we could find some pattern of our shame. Look who comes here, a grave unto a soul, holding the eternal spirit against her will, in the vile prison of affected breath. I pray thee, lady, go away with me.
No. Now see the issue of your peace.
Patience, good lady, comfort, gentle Constance.
No, no, I defy all counsel, all redress. But that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death. Death. Amiable, lovely death. Thou odoriferous stench, sound rottenness, arise forth from the couch of lasting night. And thou hate and terror to prosperity, and I will kiss thy detestable bones, and I'll put my eyeballs in thy faulty brows, and wring these fingers with thy household worms. And stop this gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a carrion monster like thyself. Come grin on me, and I will think thou smilest. And bust thee as thy wife, misery to love, come to me.
O fair affliction, peace.
No. I'll not. Having breath to cry, oh, that my tongue were in the thunder's mouth, then with a passion will I shake the world, and rouse from sleep that fell anatomy, which cannot hear a lady's feeble voice, which scorns a modern invocation.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Thou art not holy to belie me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear, it's mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he's lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were, but then 'tis like I should forget myself. If I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and I shall be canonized, Cardinal. For not being mad, but sensible of grief, my reasonable part produces reason. I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouds were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Bind up those tresses. Oh, what love I note in the fair multitudes of those her hairs, where by chance a silver drop had fallen, even to that drop 10,000 weary friends do glue themselves in sociable grief, like true, inseparable, faithful loves sticking together in calamity.
England, if you will.
Bind up your hairs.
Yeah. That I will. Wherefore will I do it? I tore them from their bonds and cried aloud, that these hands could so redeem my son as they have given these hairs their liberty. But now I envy at their liberty, and I will again commit them to their bonds, because my poor child is a prisoner. Father Cardinal, I've heard you say that we shall see and know our friends in heaven. If that be true, I will see my boy again. For since the birth of Cain, the first male child, to him that did but yesterday suspire, there was not such a gracious creature born. But now will cankerous sorrow eat my bud and chase the native beauty from his cheek, and he will look as hollow as a ghost. As dim and as meagre as an ague spit. And so he'll die, and rising so again when I shall meet him in the court of heaven, I will not know him. For never must I behold my pretty Arthur more.
Пока моя соперница убивается, я чаю попью.
You hold too heinous a respect of grief.
He talks to me that never had a son.
You are as fond of grief as of your child.
Grief fills up the room of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me. Puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. Have I reason to be fond of grief? Oh, fare you well. Had you such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do. I'll not keep this form upon my head when there is such disorder in my wit. Oh, Lord! My boy, my Arthur, my son. My life, my joy, my food, my all the world. My widow comfort, and my sorrow's cure.
I fear some outrage, and I'll follow her.
There's nothing in this world can make me joy. Life is as tedious as a twice-told tale, vexing the dull ear of a drowsy man. And bitter shame had spoiled the sweet world's taste, that it yields naught but shame and bitterness.
Before the curing of a strong disease, even in the instant of repair and health, the fit is strongest. Evils that take leave of their departure must of all show evil. What have you lost by losing of this day?
All days of glory, joy, and happiness.
If you had won it, certainly you had. No, no! When fortune means to men most good, she looks upon them with a threatening eye. 'Tis strange to think how much King John hath lost in this which he accounts so clearly won. Are you not grieved that Arthur is his prisoner?
As heartily as he is glad he hath him.
Your mind is all as youthful as your blood. Now hear me speak with a prophetic spirit. For even the breath of what I mean to speak shall blow each dust, each straw, each little rub out of the path which shall directly lead thy foot to England's throne. And therefore mark, John hath seized Arthur, and it cannot be that whiles warm life plays in that infant's veins, the misplaced John should entertain an hour, 1 minute, nay, one quiet breath of rest. A sceptre snatched with an unruly hand must be as boisterously maintained as gained. And he that stands upon a slippery place makes nice of no vile hold to stay him up. That John may stand, then Arthur needs must fall. So be it, for it cannot be but so.
But what shall I gain by young Arthur's fall?
You, in the right of Lady Blanche, your wife, may then make all the claim that Arthur did.
Then lose it, life and all, as Arthur did.
How green you are, and fresh in this old world! John, lays you plots. The times conspire with you, for he that steeps his safety in true blood shall find but bloody safety and untrue. This act, so evilly born, shall cool the hearts of all his people and freeze up their zeal, that none so small advantage shall step forth to check his reign, but they will cherish it. No natural exhalation in the sky, no scope of nature, no distempered day, no common wind, no customed event, but they will pluck away his natural cause and call them meteors, prodigies and signs, abortives, presages, and tongues of heaven, oh, plainly denouncing vengeance upon John.
Maybe he will not touch young Arthur's life, but hold himself safe in his imprisonment.
Oh, sir, when he shall hear of your approach, if that young Arthur be not gone already, even at that news, he dies. And then the hearts of all his people shall revolt from him and kiss the lips of unacquainted change, and pick strong matter of revolt and wrath out of the bloody fingers ends of John. Methinks I see this hurly all on foot, and oh, what a better matter breeds for you than I have named. The bastard Falconbridge is now in England, ransacking the church, offending charity. If but a dozen French were there in arms, they would be as a call to train 10,000 English to their side, or as a little snow tumbled about and becomes a mountain. Oh, noble Dauphin, go with me to the king. 'Tis wonderful what may be brought out of their discontent, now that their souls are topful of offence. For England, go! I will wait on the king.
Strong reasons make strange actions. Let us go. If you say A, the king will not say no.
Act 4, Scene 1.
Ha! Heat me these irons hot, and look thou stand within the arras. When I strike my foot upon the bosom of the ground, rush forth, and bind the boy which you shall find with me fast to the chair. Be heedful. Hence, and watch.
I hope your warrant shall bear out the deed.
Uncleanly scruples fear not you. Look to it! Young lad, come forth. I have to say with you.
Good morrow, Hubert.
Good morrow, little prince.
As little prince, having so great a title to be more prince as may be. You're sad.
Indeed, I have been merry.
Mercy on me. Methinks nobody should be sad but I. Yet I remember when I was in France, young gentlemen would be as sad as night, only for wantonness. By my Christendom, so I were out of prison and kept sheep, I should be as merry as the day is long. And so I would be here, but I doubt my uncle practices more harm to me. He fears me, and I him. Is it my fault that I was Geoffrey's son? No, indeed, it's not. No, would to heaven I were your son, so you would love me, Hubert.
If I talk to him with his innocent prate, he will await my mercy which lies dead. Therefore I will be sudden in dispatch.
Are you sick, Hubert? You look pale today. In sooth, I would you were a little sick, that I might sit all night and watch with you. I warrant I love you more than you do me.
His words do take possession of my bosom. Read! Here, young Arthur. How now, foolish rum, turning dispiteous torture out of door, I must be brief, lest resolution drop out my eyes in tender womanish tears. Can you not read it? Is it not fair writ?
Too fairly, Hubert. For so foul effect. Must you with hot irons burn out both mine eyes?
Young boy, I must.
And will you?
And I will.
Have you the heart? When your head did but ache, I knit my handkerchief about your brows the best I had. A princess wrought at me, and I did never ask it you again. And with my hand at midnight held your head, and like the watchful minutes to the hour still and anon cheered up the heavy time, saying, what lack you, and where lies your grief, or what good love may I perform for you? Many a poor man's son would have lion still, and ne'er have spoke a loving word to you. But you, at your sick service, had a prince. Nay, you may think my love was crafty love, and call it cunning. Do it if you will, if heaven be pleased that you must use me ill, why then you must. Will you put out mine eyes, these eyes that never did, nor never shall so much as frown on you?
I have sworn to do it, and with hot irons must I burn them out.
None but in this iron age would do it. The iron of itself, though heat red hot approaching, near these eyes would drink my tears and quench this fiery indignation, even in the matter of mine innocence, nay, after that consume away in rust, but for containing fire to harm mine eye. Are you more stubborn hard than hammered iron? And if an angel should have come to me and told me Hubert should put out mine eyes, I would not have believed him. No tongue but Hubert's.
Come forth! Do as I bid you do.
Oh, Hubert! Save me, Hubert! Save me! My eyes are out, even with the fierce looks of this bloody man.
Give me the iron. Give me the iron, I say, and bind him here!
Alas! What need you be so boisterous rough? I will not struggle. I will stand stone still. For God's sake, Hubert, let me not be bound. Nay, hear me, Hubert. Drive this man away, and I will sit as quiet as a lamb. I will not stir, nor wince, nor speak a word, nor look upon the iron angrily. Thrust but this man away, and I'll forgive you, whatever torment you do put me to.
Go stand within. Let me alone with him.
I am best pleased to be from such a deed.
Alas, I then have chid away my friend. He hath a stern look, but a gentle heart. Let him come back, that his compassion may give life to yours.
Come, boy! Prepare yourself!
Is there no remedy?
None, but to lose your eyes.
Oh, God, that there were but a mote, In yours, a grain, a dust, a gnat, a wandering hair. Any annoyance in that precious sense, then feeling what small things are boisterous that your vile intent must needs seem horrible.
Is this your promise? Go to! Hold your tongue!
Hubert, the utterance of a brace of tongues must needs want pleading for a pair of eyes. Let me not hold my tongue, let me not, Hubert. Or, Hubert, if you will, cut out my tongue, so I may keep mine eyes. I spare mine eyes, though to no use, but still to look on you. Lo, by my troth, the instrument is cold and would not harm me.
I could heat it, boy.
No, in good sooth, the fire is dead with grief, being create for comfort, to be used in undeserved extremes. See else yourself, there is no malice in this burning coal. The breath of heaven hath blown his spirit out and strewed repentant ashes on his head.
But with my breath I can revive it, boy.
And if you do, you will but make it blush and glow with shame of your proceedings, Hubert. Nay, it perchance will sparkle in your eyes, and like a dog that is compelled to fight, snatch at his master that doth tar him on. All things that you should use to do me wrong deny their office. Only you do lack that mercy which fierce fire and iron extends, creatures of note for mercy-lacking uses.
Well, see to live. I will not touch thine eyne, for all the treasure that thine uncle owes. Yet am I sworn, and I did purpose, boy, with the same very iron, to burn them out.
Now you look like Hubert. All this while you were disguised.
Peace, no more. Adieu. Your uncle must not know but you are dead. I'll fill these dogged spies with false reports. And pretty child, sleep, doubtless and secure, that Hubert, for the wealth of all the world, will not offend thee.
Oh, heaven, I thank you, Hubert.
Silence, no more. Go closely in with me. Much danger do I undergo for thee.
Act 4, Scene 2.
Here once again we sit, once again crowned and looked upon, I hope, with cheerful eyes.
This once again, but that your highness pleased, was once superfluous. You were crowned before, and that high royalty was ne'er plucked off, the fates of men ne'er stained with revolt. Fresh expectation troubled not the land with any longed for change or better state.
Therefore, to be possessed with double pomp, to guard a title that was rich before, to gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw a perfume on the violet, to smooth the ice or add another hue unto the rainbow, or with taper light to seek the beauteous eye of heaven to garnish, is wasteful and ridiculous excess.
But that your royal pleasure must be done, this act is as an ancient tale new told, and in that last repeating, troublesome, being urged at a time unseasonable.
In this, the antique and well-noted face of plain old form is much disfigured, and like a shifted wind unto a sail, it makes the course of thoughts to fetch about, startles and frights consideration, makes sound opinion sick and truth suspected, for putting on so new a fashioned robe.
When workmen strive to do better than their will, they do confound their skills in covetousness, and oftentimes excusing of a fault doth make the fault the worse by the excuse, as patches set upon a little breach discredit more in hiding of the fault than did the fault before it was so patched.
To this effect, before you were new crowned, we breathed our counsel, but it pleased your highness to overbear it, and we were all well pleased, since all and every part of what we would doth make a stand at what your highness will.
Some reasons of this double coronation I have possessed you with, and think them strong, and more strong. When lesser is my fear, I shall endue you with. Meantime, but ask what you would have reformed that is not well, and well shall you perceive how willingly I will both hear and grant your requests.
Then I, as one that am the tongue of these, to sound the purposes of all their hearts, both for myself and them, but chief of all your safety, for the which myself and them bend their best studies, heartily request the enfranchisement of Arthur, whose restraint doth move the murmuring lips of discontent to break into this dangerous argument. If what in rest you have a right to hold, why then your fears, which, as they say, attend the steps of wrong, should move you to mew up your tender kinsman and to choke his days with barbarous ignorance and deny his youth the rich advantage of good exercise, that the time's enemies may not have this to grace occasions, that it be our suit that you have bid us ask his liberty, which for our goods we do no further ask, than whereupon our weal on you depending counts it your will he have his liberty.
Oh, let it be so. I do commit to your direction. Hubert, what news with you?
This is the man should do the bloody deed. He showed his warrant to a friend of mine. The image of a wicked, heinous fault lives in his eye. That close aspect of his doth show the mood of a much troubled breast, and I do fearfully believe 'tis done what we so feared he had a charge to do.
The colour of the king doth come and go between his purpose and his conscience, like heralds twixt two dreadful battles set. His passion is so ripe it needs must break.
And when it breaks, I fear will issue thence the foul corruption of a sweet child's death.
For we cannot hold morality's strong hand. Good lords, although my will to give is living, the suit which you demand is gone and dead. He tells us Arthur is deceased tonight.
Indeed. We feared his sickness was past cure.
Indeed, we heard how near his death he was before the child himself felt he was sick. This must be answered either here or hence.
Why do you bend such solemn brows on me? Think you I bear the shears of destiny? Have I commandment of the pulse of life?
It is apparent foul play, and 'tis shame that greatness should so grossly offer it. So thrive it in your game, and so farewell.
Yet stay, Lord Salisbury. I'll go with thee and find the inheritance of this poor child, his little kingdom of a forced grave. That blood which owed the breath of all this isle 3 foot of it doth hold. Bad world the while. This must not be thus born. This will break out to all our sorrows, and ere long, I doubt.
They burn in indignation. I repent. There is no sure foundation set on blood, no certain life achieved by others' death. A fearful eye thou hast. Where is that blood that I have seen inhabiting those cheeks? So foul a sky clears not without a storm. Pour down thy weather. How goes all in France?
From France to England, never such a power for any foreign preparation was levied in the body of a land. The copy of your speed is learned by them. When you should be told they do prepare, the tidings comes that they are all arrived.
Oh, where hath our intelligence been drunk? Where hath it slept? Where is my mother's care, that such an army could be drawn in France, and she not hear of it?
My liege, her ear is stopped with dust. The 1st of April died your noble mother. And as I hear, my lord, Lady Constance in a frenzy died 3 days before. But this from rumour's tongue I idly heard. If true or false, I know not.
Withhold thy speed. Dreadful occasion! Oh, mistake my league. With me till I have pleased my discounted peers. What done with the dead? How wildly then walks my estate in France? Under whose conduct came those powers of France that thou, for truth, givest out are landed here?
Under the Dauphin.
Thou hast made me giddy with these ill tidings. Now, what says the world to your proceedings? Do not seek to stuff my head with more ill news, for it is full.
But if you be afeard to hear the worst, then let the worst unheard fall on your head.
Bear with me, cousin. I was amazed under the tide, but now I breathe again. Aloft the Flirden can give audience to any tongue. Speak it of what it will.
How I have sped among the clergymen, the sums I have collected shall express. But as I travelled hither through the land, I find the people strangely fantasied, possessed with rumours, full of idle dreams, not knowing what they fear, but full of fear. And here's a prophet that I brought with me from forth the streets of Pomfret, whom I found with many hundreds treading on his heels, to whom he sung in rude, harsh-sounding rhymes that ere the next Ascension Day at noon, your highness should deliver up your crown.
Thou idle dreamer! Where didst thou sow? Thy lips do me move, Peter of Pomfret, but I do hear thee not.
All-knowing, sire, that's the truth. Will fall out so.
Hubert. Away with him! Imprison him! And on the day at noon whereon he says I shall yield up my crown, let him be hanged! Deliver him to safety in return, for I must use thee. Oh. My gentle cousin. Here's the news abroad who are arrived.
The French, my lord. Men's mouths are full of it. Besides, I met Lord Pembroke and Lord Salisbury with eyes as red as new enkindled fire, and others more, going to seek the grave of Arthur, whom they say is killed tonight on your suggestion.
Gentle kinsman, go and thrust thyself into their companies. I have a way to win their loves again. Bring them before me.
I will seek them out.
But make haste, the better foot before. Oh, let me have subject enemies, where, when adverse foreigners affright my towns with dreadful pomp and stout invasion, be Mercury, set feathers to thy heels, and fly like thought from them to me again.
The spirit of the time shall teach me speed.
Spoke like a spriteful noble gentleman. Go after him, for he perhaps shall need some messenger betwixt me and the peers. And be thou he.
With all my heart, my liege.
Oh, my mother dead!
My lord, they say 5 moons were seen tonight. 4 fixed, and the 5th did whirl about the other 4 in wondrous motion.
5 moons?
Old men and beldams in the street do prophesy upon it dangerously. Young Arthur's death is common in their mouths, and when they talk of him, they shake their heads and whisper one another in the ear, and he that speaks doth grip the hearer's wrist, while he that hears makes fearful action with wrinkled brows, with nods, with rolling eyes. I saw a smith stand with his hammer thus, the whilst his iron did on the anvil cool, with open mouth, swallowing a tailor's news, who with his shears and measure in his hand, standing on slippers, which his nimble haste had falsely thrust upon contrary feet, told of a many thousand warlike French that were embattled and ranked in Kent. Another, lean, unwashed artificer, cuts off his tail and talks of Arthur's death.
Why seekest thou to possess me with these fears? Why urgest thou so oft young Arthur's death? Thy hand hath murdered him. I had a mighty cause to wish him dead, but thou hast none to kill him.
No had, my lord! Why, did you not provoke me?
It is the curse of kings to be attended by slaves! That is for a warrant to break within the bloody house of life, and on the winking of authority to understand a law, to know the meaning of dangerous majesty, when perchance it frowns more upon humour than advised respect!
Here is your hand and seal for what I did!
Oh, when the last accompt twixt heaven and earth is to be made, then shall this hand and seal witness against us to damnation! How oft the sight of means do ill deeds make deeds ill done? Hast not thou been by a fellow, by the hand of nature marked, quoted, and signed to do a deed of shame? This murderer had not come into my mind, but taking note of thy abhorred aspect, finding thee fit for bloody villainy, apt, liable to be employed in danger, I faintly broke with thee of Arthur's death, and thou, to be endangered to a king, made it no conscience to destroy a prince.
My lord!
Thou but shook thy head, or made a pause when I spake darkly what I proposed, or turned an eye of doubt upon my face, as bid me tell the tale in express words. Deep shame had struck me dumb, made me break off, and all thy fears, and all thy fears might have wrought fears in me, but thou didst understand by my signs, and distant signs again parley with sin. Yea, without stop, let thy heart consent, and consequently thy rude hand to act the deed which both our tongues held vile to name. Out of my sight, and never see me more. My nobles, leave me, and my state is braved, even at my gates, with ranks of foreign powers, nay, in the body of this fleshly land, this kingdom, this confine of blood and breath, hostility and civil turmoil reigns between my conscience and my cousin's death.
Arm you against your other enemies. I'll make a peace between your soul and you. Young Arthur is alive. This hand of mine is yet a maiden and an innocent hand, not painted with the crimson spots of blood. Within this bosom never entered yet the dreadful motion of a murderous thought. And you have slandered nature in my form, which howsoever rude exteriorly is yet the cover of a fairer mind than to be butcher of an innocent child.
Doth Arthur live? Oh, haste thee to the peers, throw this report on their incessant rage, and make them tame to their obedience. Forgive the comment that my passion made upon thy feature, for my rage was blind, and foul imaginary eyes of blood presented thee more hideous than thou art. Oh, answer not, but to my closest bring the angry lord with all expedient haste. Run to thee but slowly. Run more fast!
Act 4, Scene 3.
The wall is high, and yet will I leap down? Good ground. Be pitiful and hurt me not. There's few or none do know me. If they did, this shipboy's semblance hath disguised me quite. I am afraid, and yet I'll venture it. If I get down and do not break my limbs, I'll find 1,000 shifts to get away. It's good to die and go, as die and stay. Oh me! My uncle's spirit is in these stones. Heaven, take my soul. And England, keep my bones.
Lords, I will meet with him at St. Edmundsbury. It is our safety, and we must embrace this gentle offer of the perilous time.
Who brought that letter from the Cardinal?
The Count Milon, a noble lord of France, whose private with me of the Dauphin's love is much more general than these lines import.
Tomorrow morning let us meet him, then.
Rather then set forth, for 'twill be 2 long days' journey, lords, ere we meet.
Once more today, well met, distempered lords. The king by me requests your presence tonight.
The king hath dispossessed himself of us. We will not line his thin, bestained cloak with our pure honours, nor attend the foot that leaves the print of blood where'er it walks. Return, and tell him so. We know the worst.
Whate'er you think, good words I think were best.
Our griefs, and not our manners, reason now.
Ah, but there is little reason in your grief, therefore 'twere reason you had manners now.
Sir, impatience hath his privilege.
'Tis true, to hurt his master, no man's else.
This is the prison. What is he lies here?
O death, made proud with pure and princely beauty, the earth hath not a hole to hide this deed.
Murder, as hating what himself hath done, doth lay it open to urge on revenge.
When he doomed this beauty to a grave, found it too precious princely for a grave.
Sir Richard, what think you? You have beheld, or have you read or heard, or could you think, or do you almost think, although you see that you do see, could thought without this object form such another? This is the very top, the height, the crest, or crest unto the crest of murder's arms. This is the bloodiest shame, the wildest savagery, the vilest stroke that ever wall-eyed wrath or stowering rage presenteth to the tears of soft remorse.
All murders pass to stand excused in this, and this so sole and so unmatchable shall give a holiness, a purity to the yet unbegotten sins of times that prove a deadly bloodshed, but a jest, exampled by this heinous spectacle.
It is a damned and a bloody work, the graceless action of a heavy hand, if it be the work of any hand.
If that it be the work of any hand, we had a kind of light that wouldn't you. It is the shameful work of Hubert's hand, the practice and the purpose of the king, from whose obedience I forbid my soul, kneeling before this ruin of sweet life, and breathing to this breathless excellence the incense of a vow, a holy vow, never to taste the pleasures of the world, never to be infected with delight, nor conversant with ease and idleness, till I have set a glory to this hand, by giving it the worship of revenge.
My soul religiously confirms thy words.
Lords! I am hot with haste in seeking you. Arthur doth live! The king hath sent for you.
Oh, he is bold and blushes not at death. Avaunt, thou hateful villain, get thee gone!
I am no villain.
Must I rob the law?
Your sword is bright, sir. Put it up again.
Not till I sheathe it in a murderer's skin.
Stand back, Lord Salisbury. Stand back, I say. By heaven! I think my sword's as sharp as yours. I would not have you, Lord, forget yourself, nor tempt the danger of my true defence, lest I, by mocking of your rage, forget your worth, your greatness, and your nobility.
Out, dunghill! Darest thou brave a nobleman?
Not for my life, but yet I dare defend my innocent life against an emperor.
Thou art a murderer!
Do not prove me so! Yet I am none! Whose tongue soe'er speaks false, not truly speaks. Who speaks not truly, lies.
Cut him to pieces!
Oh, keep the peace, I say!
Stand by, or I shall gall you, Falconbridge.
Thou wert better gall the devil Salisbury, if thou but frown on me, or stir thy foot, or teach thy hasty spleen to do me shame, I'll strike thee dead. Put up thy sword betime, or I'll so maul you and your toasting iron that you shall think the devil is come from hell.
What wilt thou do, renowned Falconbridge, second a villain and a murderer?
I am none!
Who killed this prince?
Tis not an hour since I left him well. I honored him. I loved him, and will weep my date of life out for his sweet life's loss.
Trust not the cunning waters of those eyes. For villainy is not without such room, and he, long traded in it, makes it seem like rivers of remorse and innocency. Away with me, all you whose souls abhor the uncleanly savours of a slaughterhouse, for I am stifled with this smell of sin. Away, towards Bury, to the Dauphin there.
There, tell the king he may inquire us out.
Here's the good world. Knew you of this fair work? Beyond the infinite and boundless reach of mercy, if thou didst this deed of death, art thou damned, Hubert?
Do but hear me, sir.
I'll tell thee what, thou art damned in hell. Nay, nothing is so damned. Thou art more deep damned than Prince Lucifer. There is not yet so ugly a fiend of hell as thou shalt be if thou didst kill this child.
Upon my soul.
If thou didst but consent to this most cruel act, do but despair. And if thou wantst to cord, the smallest thread that ever spider twisted from her womb will serve to strangle thee. A rush will be a beam to hang thee on. Or wouldst thou drown thyself? Put but a little water in a spoon, and it shall be as the ocean, enough to stifle such a villain up. I do suspect thee very grievously.
If I, in act, consent, or sin of thought, be guilty of the stealing that sweet breath, which was embounded in this beauteous clay, let hell! What pains enough to torture me! I left him well!
Go, bear him in thine arms. I am amazed, methinks, and lose my way among the thorns and daggers and dangers of this world. How easy dost thou take all England up? From forth this morsel of dead royalty, the life, the right, the truth of all this realm is fled to heaven, and England now is left to tug and scramble and to part by the teeth the unknown interest of proud swelling state. Now for the bare-picked bone of majesty doth dogged war bristle his angry crest, and snarleth in the gentle eyes of peace. Now powers from home and discontents at home meet in one line, and vast confusion waits, as doth a raven on a stake fallen beast, the imminent decay of arrested pomp. Now happy he whose cloak and cincture can hold out this tempest. Bear away that child, and follow me with speed. I'll to the king. 1,000 businesses are brief in hand, and heaven itself doth frown upon this land.
Act 5, Scene 1.
Thus have I yielded up into your hand the circle of my glory.
Take again from this hand, as holding of the Pope, your sovereign greatness and authority.
Now keep your holy word. Go meet the French, and from his holiness use all that power to stop their marches, for we are inflamed. Our discontented countries do revolt. Our people quarrel with disobedience, swearing allegiance and love of soul to stranger blood, to foreign royalty. This indignation of mistempered humour rests by you only to be qualified. And pause not, for the present time so sick that present medicine must be ministered, or overthrow incurable ensues.
It was my breath that blew this tempest up upon your stubborn usage of the Pope. But, since you are a gentle convertite, my tongue shall hush again this storm of war, and make fair weather in your blustering land. On this Ascension Day, remember well, upon your oath of service to the Pope, go I to make the French lay down their arms.
Is this Ascension Day? Did not the prophet say that before Ascension Day at noon my crown I should give off? Even so I have. I did suppose it should be on constraint. But God be thanked, it is but voluntary.
All Kent hath yielded, nothing there holds out but Dover Castle. London have received like a kind host the Dauphin his powers. Your nobles will not hear you, but are gone to offer service to your enemy, and wild amazement hurries up and down the little number of your doubtful friends.
Would not my lords return to me again after they heard young Arthur was alive?
They found him dead and cast into the streets, an empty casket where the jewel of life by some damned hand was robbed and taken away.
Oh, the villain Hubert told me he did live!
So on my soul he did, for aught he knew. But wherefore do you droop? Why look you sad? Be great in act as you have been in thought. Let not the world see fear and sad distrust govern the motion of a kingly eye. Be stirring as the time, be fire with fire. Threaten the threatener and outface the brow of bragging horror. So shall inferior eyes that borrow their behaviours from the great grow great by your example and put on the dauntless spirit of resolution. Away and glister like the god of war when he intendeth to become the field. Show boldness and aspiring confidence. What shall they seek the lion in his den and fright him there and make him tremble there? Oh, let it not be said, forage and run to meet displeasure further from the doors and grapple with him ere he comes so nigh.
The legate of the Pope hath been with me, and I have made a happy peace with him, and he hath promised to dismiss the powers led by the Dauphin.
Oh, inglorious league! Shall we, upon the footing of our land, send fair play orders and make compromise, insinuation, parley, and base truce to arms invasive? Shall a beardless boy, a cockred silken wanton, brave our fields and flesh his spirit in a warlike soil, mocking with the air where the colours idly spread, and find no check? Let us, my liege, to arms! Perchance the cardinal cannot make your peace, or if he do, let it at least be said, they saw we had a purpose of defence.
Hast thou the ordering of this present time?
Away then, with good courage. Yet I know our party may well meet a prouder foe.
Act 5, Scene 2.
My Lord Melon, let this be copied out, and keep it safe for our remembrance. Return the precedent to these lords again, that having our fair order written down, both they and we, perusing o'er these notes, may know wherefore we took the sacrament, and keep our faiths firm and inviolable.
Upon our side it never shall be broken. A noble Dauphin. Albeit we swear a voluntary zeal and unurged faith to your proceedings, yet believe me, Prince, I am not glad that such a sore of time should seek a plaster by contemned revolt, and heal the inveterate canker of one wound by making many. Oh, it grieves my soul that I must draw this metal from my side to be a widow-maker. Oh, and there, where honourable rescue and defence cry out upon the name of Salisbury. But such is the infection of the time, that for the health and physic of our right we cannot deal but with the very hand of stern injustice and confused wrong. And is not pity, oh my grieved friends, that we, the sons and children of this isle, was born to see so sad an hour as this? wherein we step after a stranger, march upon her gentle bosom, and fill up her enemies' ranks. Oh, I must withdraw and weep upon the spot of this enforced cause, to grace the gentry of a land remote, and follow unacquainted colours here. What, here? O nation, that thou couldst remove that Neptune's arms who clippeth thee about, would bear thee from the knowledge of thyself, and grapple thee unto a pagan shore, where these two Christian armies might combine the blood of malice in a vein of league, and not to spend it so unneighbourly.
A noble temper dost thou show in this, and great affections wrestling in thy bosom, doth make an earthquake of nobility. Oh, what a noble combat hast thou fought, between compulsion and a brave respect! Let me wipe off this honourable dew that silverly doth progress on thy cheeks. My heart had melted at a lady's tears, being an ordinary inundation, but this effusion of such manly drops, this shower, blown up by a tempest of the soul, startles mine eyes, and makes me more amazed than had I seen the vaulty top of heaven, figured quite o'er with burning meteors. Lift up thy brow, renowned Salisbury, and with great heart heave away this storm. Commend these waters to those baby eyes that never saw the giant world enraged, nor met with fortune other than at feasts, full warm of blood, of mirth, of gossiping. Come, come, for thou shalt thrust thy hand as deep into the purse of rich prosperity as Louis himself. So, nobles, shall you all, that knit your sinews to the strength of mine, and even there, methinks, an angel spake. Look where the holy legate comes apace to give us warrant from the hand of God, and on our actions set the name of right with holy breath.
Hail, noble Prince of France. The next is this. King John hath reconciled himself to Rome. His spirit is come in that so stood out against the Holy Church, the great metropolis and see of Rome. Therefore, thy threatening colours now wind up, and tame the savage spirit of wild war, that, like a lion fostered up at hand, it may lie gently at the foot of peace, and be no further harmful than in show.
Your grace shall pardon me. I will not back. I am too high born to be propertied, to be a secondary at control, or useful serving man and instrument to any sovereign state throughout the world. Your breath first kindled that cause of war between this chastised kingdom and myself, and brought in matter that should feed this fire. And now 'tis far too huge to be blown out with that same weak wind which enkindled it. You told me how to know the face of right, acquainted me with interest to this land. Yea, trust this enterprise into my heart, and come you now to tell me John hath made his peace with Rome? What is that peace to me? I, by the honour of my marriage bed, after young Arthur claimed this land for mine, and now it is half conquered, must I back, because that John hath made his peace with Rome? Am I Rome's slave? What penny hath Rome borne? What men provided? What munitions sent to underprop this actions? Is it not I that undergo this charge? Who else but I, and as such as to my claim are liable, sweats in this business and maintain this war? Have I not heard these islanders shout out, Vive le roi, as I have banged their towns? Have I not here the best cards for the game to win this easy match played for a crown? And shall I now give o'er the yielded set? No, on my soul it never shall be set.
You look but on the outside of this work.
Outside or inside, I will not return till my attempt so much be glorified as to my ample hope was promised before I drew this gallant head of war and killed these fiery spirits from the world to outlook conquest and to win renown even in the jaws of danger and of death. What lusty trumpet thus doth summon us?
According to the fair play of the world, let me have audience. I am sent to speak, my holy lord of Milan, from the king. I come to learn how you have dealt for him, and as you answer, I do know the scope and warrant limited unto my tongue.
The Dauphin is too wilful opposite, and will not temporize with my entreaties. He flatly says he'll not lay down his arms.
By all the blood that ever fully breathed, the youth says well. Now, hear our English king, for thus his royalty doth speak in me. He is prepared, and reason too he should. This apish and unmannerly approach, this harnessed mask and unadvised revel, this unheard sauciness and boyish truths the king doth smile at, and is well prepared to whip this dwarfish war, these pygmy arms, from out the circle of his territories. That hand which had the strength, even at your door, to cudgel you and make you take the hatch, to dive like buckets in concealed wells, to crouch in litter of your stable planks, to lie like pawns locked up in chests and trucks, to hug with swine, to seek sweet safety out in vaults and prisons, and to thrill and shake even at the crying of your nation's crow. Thinking this voice an armoured Englishman, shall that victorious hand be feebled here that in your chambers gave you chastisement? No, the gallant monarch is in arms, and like an eagle o'er his airy towers to souse annoyance that comes near his nest, and you degenerate, you ingrate revolts, you bloody Neros, ripping up the wound of your dear mother England, blush for shame. For your own ladies and pale-visaged maids like Amazons come tripping after drums, their thimbles into armoured gauntlets change, their needles to lances, and their general hearts to fierce and bloody inclination.
There end thy brave, and turn thy face in peace. We grant thou canst outscold us. Fare thee well. We hold our time too precious to be spent with such a brabbler.
Give me leave to speak.
No, I will speak.
We will attend to neither. Strike up the drums, and let the tongue of war plead for our interest and our being here.
Indeed, your drums being beaten will cry out, and so shall you, being beaten. Do but start an echo with the clamour of thy drum, and even at hand a drum is ready braced that shall reverberate all as loud as thine. Sound but another, and another shall, as loud as thine, rattle the welkin's ear and mock the deep-mouthed thunder, for at hand not trusting to this halting legate here, whom he hath used rather for sport than need, is warlike John, and in his forehead sits a bare-ribbed death, whose office is this day to feast upon the whole thousands of the French.
Strike up our drums, and find this danger out.
And thou shalt find it, Dauphin, do not doubt.
Act 5, Scene 3.
How goes the day with you? Oh, tell me, Hubert.
Badly, I fear. How fares your majesty?
This fever hath troubled me so long. Lies heavy on me. Oh, my heart is sick.
My lord, your valiant kinsman Falconbridge desires your majesty to leave the field, and send word by me which way you go.
Tell him towards Swinstead, to the abbey there.
Be of good comfort, for the great supply that was expected by the Dauphin here are wrecked 3 nights ago on Goodwin Sands. The news was brought to Richard, but even now, the French fight coldly and retire themselves.
Ay me, this tyrant fever burns me up, and will not let me welcome this good news. Set on towards Swinstead, to my litter straight. Weakness possesseth me, and I am faint.
Act 5, Scene 4.
I did not think the king so stored with friends.
Up once again. Put spirit in the French. If they miscarry, we miscarry too.
That misbegotten devil Falconbridge, in spite of spite, alone upholds the day.
They say King John, sore sick, hath left the field.
Lead me to the revolt of England here.
When we were happy, we had other names.
'Tis the Count Millen.
Wounded to death.
Fly, noble English. You are bought and sold. Unthread the rude eye of rebellion, and welcome home again discarded faith. Seek out King John, and fall before his feet. For if the French be lords of this loud day, he means to recompense the pains you take by cutting off your heads. Thus has he sworn, and I with him, and many more with me, upon the altar at St. Edmundsbury, even on that altar where we swore to you dear amity and everlasting love.
May this be possible, may this be true.
Have I not hideous death within my view, retaining but a quantity of life, which bleeds away even as a form of wax resolveth from his fig against the fire? What in the world should make me now conceive, since I must lose the use of all conceit? Why should I then be false, since it is true that I must die here and live hence in truth? I say again, if Louis do win the day, his forsworn, if e'er those eyes of yours behold another daybreak in the east. But even this night, whose black contagious breath already smokes about the burning crest of the old, feeble, and day-wearied sun, even this ill night, your breathing shall expire, paying the fine of hated treachery, even with the treacherous fine of all your lives. If Louis, by your assistance, win the day, commend me to one Hubert with your king. The love of him, and this respect besides, for that my grandsire was an Englishman, awakes my conscience to confess all this. In lieu whereof, I pray you, bear me hence, from forth the noise and rumour of the field, where I may think the remnant of my thoughts in peace, and part this body and my soul with contemplation and devout desires.
We do believe thee, and beshrew my soul that I do love the favour and the form of this most fair occasion, by the which we will untread the steps of damned flight, and like a bated and retired flood, leaving our rankness and irregular course stoop low within those bounds we have overlooked, calmly run on in obedience, even to our ocean, to our great King John. My arm shall give thee help to bear thee hence, for I do see the cruel pangs of death right in thine eye. Away, my friends, new flight, and happy newness that intends old right.
Act 5, Scene 5.
The Son of Heaven, methought, was loath to set, but stayed and made the western welkin blush, when England measured backward their own ground in faint retire. Oh, bravely came we up, when with a volley of our needless shot, after such bloody toil, we bid good night and wound our tottering colours clearly up, lost in the field, and almost lords of it.
Where is my prince, the Dauphin?
Here, what news?
The Count Melun is slain. The English lords, by his persuasion, are again fallen off. And your supply, which you have wished so long, is cast away and sunk on Goodwin sands.
Shrewd news! Shrewd, thy very heart! I did not think to be so sad tonight, as this hath made me. Who was he that said King John did fly an hour or two before the stumbling night did part our wary powers?
Whoever spoke it, it is true, my lord.
Well, keep good quarter and good care tonight. The day shall not be up so soon as I to try the fair adventure of tomorrow.
Act 5, Scene 6.
Who's there? Speak, ho! Speak quickly, or I'll shoot!
A friend, what art thou?
Of the part of England.
Whither dost thou go?
What's that to thee?
Why may not I demand of thine affairs as well as thou of mine? Hubert, I think.
Thou hast a perfect thought. I will upon all hazards well believe thou art my friend, that knowest my tongue so well. Who art thou?
Who thou wilt. And if thou please, thou mayst befriend me so much as to think I come one way of the Plantagenets.
Unkind remembrance. Thou, an endless night, have done me shame. Brave soldier, pardon me, that any accent breaking from thy tongue should scape the true acquaintance of mine ear.
Come, son, sans compliment. What news abroad?
Why, here I walk in the black brow of night to find you out.
Brief, then, and what's the news?
Oh, my sweet sir, news fitting to the night. Black, fearless, comfortless, and horrible.
Show me the very wound of this ill news. I'm no woman. I'll not swoon at it.
The king, I fear, is poisoned by a monk. I left him almost speechless and broke out to acquaint you with this evil, that you might be the better arm, to the sudden time than if you had at leisure known of this.
How did he take it? Who did taste to him?
A monk, I tell you. A resolved villain! Whose bowels suddenly burst out. The king yet speaks, and peradventure may recover.
Who didst thou leave to tend his majesty?
Why know you not? The lords are all come back, and brought Prince Henry in their company, at whose request the king hath pardoned them, and they are all about his majesty.
Withhold thine indignation, mighty God, and tempt us not to bear above our power. I'll tell thee, Hubert, half my power this night passing these flats are taken by the tide. These Lincoln washers have devoured them. Myself, well mounted, hardly have escaped. Away before. Conduct me to the king. I doubt he will be dead ere I come.
Act 5, Scene 7.
It is too late. The life of all his blood is touched corruptibly, and his pure brain, which some suppose the soul's frail dwelling-house, doth, by the idle comment that it makes, foretell the ending of mortality.
His Highness yet doth speak, and holds belief that being brought into the open air, it would allay the burning quality of that fell poison which assaileth him.
Let him be brought into the orchard here. Doth he still rage?
He is more patient than when you left him. Even now, he sung.
Oh, vanity of sickness! Fierce extremes in their continuance will not feel themselves. Death, having preyed on the outward parts, leaves them invisible. And his siege is now against the mind, the which he pricks and wounds with many legions of strange fantasies, which, in their throng and press to that last hold, confound themselves. 'Tis strange that death should sing. I am the signet to this pale faint swan, who chants a doleful hymn to his own death, and from the organ pipe of frailty sings his soul and body to their lasting rest.
Be of good comfort, Prince, for you were born to set a form upon that indigest, which he hath left so shapeless and so rude.
Marry, now my soul hath elbow room. It would not out at windows, nor at doors. There is so hot a screamer in my bosom that all my bowels crumble up to dust. I am scribbled from drawn with a pen upon a parchment, and against this fire do I shrink up.
How fares your majesty?
Poisoned, ill fare, dead, forsooth, cast off. And none of you will bid the winter come and thrust his icy fingers in my maw, nor let my kingdom's river take their course, though my burning bosom, nor entreat the north to make his bleak winds kiss my parched lips and comfort me with cold. I do not ask you much. I beg cold comfort. And you are so straight and so ungrateful you deny me that.
That there was some virtue in my tears that might relieve you.
Salt in them is hot. Within me is hell. There is poison. This is a fiend confined to tyrannize the unbreathable contaminated blood.
Oh, I am scalded with my violent motion and spleen of speed to see your majesty.
Oh, cousin, thou art come to set mine eye. The tackle of mine heart is cracked and burnt, and all the shrouds wherewith my life should sail are turned to one thread, one little hair. My heart hath poor string to stay it by, which holds but till thy news be uttered. And then all this thou seest is but a cold and module confound of royalty.
The Dauphin is preparing hitherward, where God he knows how we shall answer him. For in the night the best part of my power, as I upon advantage did remove, were in the washers, all unwarily devoured by the unexpected flood.
You breathe these dead news in as dead an ear, my liege, my lord. But now a king. Now. Thus.
Even so must I run on. And even so stop! What surety of the world, what hope, what stay, when this was now a king, and now is clay?
Art thou gone so? I do but stay behind to do the office for thee of revenge, and then my soul shall wait on thee to heaven, as it on earth hath been thy servant still. Now, you stars, that move in your right spheres, where be your powers? Show now your mended faiths, and instantly return with me again to push destruction and perpetual shame out of the weak door of our fainting land. Straight let us seek, or straight shall we be sought. The Dauphin rages at our very heels.
It seems you know not then so much as we. The Cardinal Pandolf is within, at rest, who half an hour since came from the Dauphin, and brings with him such offers of our peace as we with honour and respect may take, with purpose presently to leave this war.
He will the rather do it when he sees ourselves well sinew to our defence.
Nay, 'tis in a manner done already. For many carriages he hath dispatched to the seaside, and put his cause and quarrel to the disposing of the Cardinal, with whom yourself, myself, and other lords, if you think meet, this afternoon will post to consummate this business happily.
Let it be so. And you, my noble prince, with other princes that may best be spared, shall wait upon your father's funeral.
At Worcester must his body be interred, for so he willed it.
Thither shall it then. And happily may your sweet self put on the lineal state and glory of the land, to whom with all submission, on my knee, I do bequeath my faithful services and true subjection everlastingly.
The like tender of our love we make, to rest without a spot for evermore.
I have a kind soul that would give you thanks, and knows not how to do it, but with tears.
Oh, let us pay the time, but needful woe, since it hath been beforehand with our griefs. This England never did, nor never shall, lie at the proud foot of a conqueror. But when it first did help to wound itself, now these her princes are come home again, come the three corners of the world in arms, and we shall shock them. Naught shall make us rue, if England to itself do rest but true.
Well done, everyone. That was an incredible show.
I am insanely proud of each and every one of you.
We hope everybody who's watched today has enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for chipping in, and I can't be more honoured to be doing this together with you, Annabelle.
Indeed.
Hasna, you've worked miracles for our production team and our entire cast. I can only take my hats off to you.
Yes. Speaking of which, it's time to introduce our wonderful cast to you all. Playing King John, Sojourner Hazelwood Connell.
Hi everyone! Yeah, my name is Sojourner Hazelwood Connell. I went to Drama Centre and I'm currently based in Islington in London. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed the show.
As our glorious bastard, Arden Fitzroy.
Hi everyone, my name is Arden. I'm an actor based in North London, and I have adored being your bastard for you tonight. Have a good one, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
As Chatillon, the Citizen, Pandolf and Hubert, Jackie Young.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacqueline Youm like Zoom, based in the Washington DC area. It's been so much fun working with y'all, and I hope we do some more soon.
We will.
As King Philip and Pembroke, Andrew Pawaru.
Hello, my name is Andrew Sanjay Puwaru. I'm an actor based on the traditional territories of the Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, otherwise known as Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for watching.
As Constance, English Messenger and Executioner, Fenna Capella. Yeah, whoopsie.
Thank you all. I'm Fenna. I am a student and actress and writer based in the Netherlands, and it has been a delight directing you all and playing Constance. I've relished every single moment. As Salisbury in the English Herald, Jeff King.
Hello, I'm Jeff King. I'm an actor and singer based in Kent, and I've had a great time ticking off another geographical Shakespeare character from my list.
As Robert Falconbridge and the Dauphin, Puck Huggs.
Hello, I'm Puck Halkus.
Sorry.
I am a filmmaker, playwright, and apparently actor based in Middelburg, the Netherlands. And I really enjoyed being your Dauphin tonight. And I think I'm going to keep wearing my crown for a while.
As Arthur and Prince Henry, Annabelle Higgins.
I'm Annabelle Higgins. I was one of the directors of tonight's production. I am an artist, a writer, and a general jack of all trades, and I'm based in Kent. Oh, as Lady Falconbridge, Queen Eleanor, and Milun, Olga Blagodatskih.
Hello, I'm Olga. I'm an actor, voiceover, and educator based in Moscow. And I can't help saying my heart goes to Britain today. What an extraordinary life Her Majesty had.
Yes.
Right you are. As Blanche in a French Herald, Hine Macpherson.
Hi, I'm Hine. I'm based in Northamptonshire. Thank you so much to everyone involved in this, and a big well done to everyone as well.
As Austria, Peter of Pomfret, and the French messenger, Peter Webster.
Thank you so much to Fenna and Annabelle for inviting me to be in this production, and I'm very deeply honoured and to work with them and with such a talented cast. My first time I've done anything like this on Zoom, so apologies for the glitches here and there. But yes, thank you all very much for watching as well.
Yes.
The lion's hide.
Yes, the lion's hide and the recreant limbs, indeed.
And hang a calf skin on his recreant limbs.
Yes!
Amen.
Well,
and also, last but definitely not least, our wonderful, wonderful producer, Hasna Haidar.
Hi, I'm Hasna Haider. I'm a writer based in London, and I have loved working on this play with all of you talented people. And I got to watch you work from the best seat in the house, so I am very lucky. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you, Hasna. You have honestly been a lifesaver and a miracle worker through all of this, as have you all. I am incredibly proud of you, cast. You've been amazing. I want to thank you. I want to thank the viewers. I want to thank Fenna, Hasna, and everybody all over again. And I want to wish everyone a very good night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night, and we'll meet again, folks.